mentioned earlier, the Los Angeles Times just named this album one of the 5 best released so far in 1983. It's called Murmur. It's by a group of gentlemen from Athens, Georgia, called R.E.M, and we're happy to have them making their national television debut with us tonight. Please welcome R.E.M.
It was really easy to pick the songs that were going to be on the best of because we asked our fans, we asked people like Tom York and Bono, who do the same thing that we do. They had the same job. We asked our record company, and everyone, for the most part, had the same list of songs. These are the songs that were singles. They have videos. Each one of them was somewhere in the world very popular, in the top 20, the top 10, number 1. Some of them everywhere in the world, they were very popular, like Everybody Hurts, Losing My Religion. So it was really, it was very easy for us to choose the songs. We then set out to write 2 new songs to go with these hits, and I thought this was going to be a really easy thing. It's only 2 songs. It's not hard. Well, it turned out to be very hard because I realized that they're going to be on a record with all the songs that people know us the most for in our whole career, and it's important that these songs be as good as our best-known songs or better. So it turned into quite a job. But I'm very happy with the choices that we made. I think the 2 songs are called Bad Day and Animal. And Animal is my favorite song right now to perform live. Bad Day is a beautiful song that we never, that we had worked on for a long time, but we never finished. So it's good to finish it. When we first started the band, I was 19 years old. Peter was very difficult to convince to be in a band. He didn't want to do it. He thought all guitar players were assholes, and he didn't want to be an asshole. But I finally convinced him. And we only wanted to play and to travel. We wanted to see the country and get out of our little lives and see what the world was. We were very young and very impressionistic and very naive. This was our way of mimicking a great hero of mine, Jack Kerouac, who went on the road and to see his country and to see what created him, what created the culture that he lived in. So this is what we did. We had no intention of putting out records. It was not an idea of ours. But as we were playing clubs, the club owners said, I won't book you unless I can hear a record that you've made. So we made the first single. We then made the first EP. We then got noticed by the record company IRS, who were independent, but a larger independent company, and got signed and started making albums. So it was all kind of a mistake. We had no goals beyond being in a band, having as much fun as we possibly could, and traveling. And that was our ticket to travel. Music to me is a very emotional experience. As a music lover, I listen to Cesaria Evora, and I don't know what she's singing about, but it doesn't matter because I feel what she's saying, and I take that. Music is for me a very personal medium because you play the same song for 6 different people and each of them receives something different from that song. That's what makes it different from other mediums like film, like painting, like photography. Music comes in and it takes the emotion and it lifts it or it brings it down, it moves it, it manipulates it. And great music, for me, as a music fan, can be like the milestones of my life. And we all have a memory that's attached to a song. We all have a memory, whether it's a good or bad memory, a great time of your life, a moment in one day, and there's a song attached to that memory. And you hear that song and instantly you feel what you felt then. I think it's just an extension of a very basic human need to have music and to have rhythm in the form of songs. So if the lyric is understood or not understood, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Dopo la pubblicità, Mono tornerà con la musica dei R.E.M e le riflessioni di M.Stipe.
It's not an easy time to be a U.S. citizen in the world.
Ecco come oggi M.Stipe ricorda la nascita di Document.
When we wrote Document, America had gone, it was 1987, and America had gone through 7 years of Ronald Reagan, and it looked like his vice president, the puppeteer, was going to take over. And it was a very dark time for the country politically. a lot of things that I think people had fought for, things that were in the Constitution were being challenged because the politicians who were running everything were so far to one extreme. They were so far to the right. Is that comparable to today? Yes, I think it is. I'm sad to say that as everything moves in cycles, this cycle has come back around. And the current administration in the U.S., I believe they represent a percentage of Americans. I don't think that what's being reported on the news channels, on Fox News or on CNN, I don't think what the world, the rest of the world, the international community is seeing and hearing about Americans is exactly accurate. And I don't think, I think what we're going to see in the next couple of months is that Americans are realizing we might have been tricked. We might have been tricked into using money to do something that was very, very wrong. And I'm referring, of course, to the invasion of Iraq. For me, it's not so much the albums, but it's songs on each album. That's where I feel I can look at each record and I can find the things that I'm very proud of, and I can find the things that I think maybe I didn't work hard enough. People love the song, but I don't really want to, I wish I had worked harder. I wish I had sung it differently, or I wish that we had brought up the bass guitar more, whatever. There are things that I see that other people don't see in here. But I go through the records and I pick the songs that for me I'm most proud of as a songwriter. And it might be a song like New Test Leper, which is not, it was never a single, it was never a video. It's a very small song if you're looking at radio and hits and recognizability to regular people. But for me as a songwriter, I think this is one of my best moments as a lyricist and as a singer. Different band live than we are in studio, and we've talked about doing a live album, but it just kind of seemed like people had bootlegs anyway of live shows, and it didn't seem like something, like we were more interested in going back in the studio and creating new songs than presenting as something to buy an album of already recorded songs performed live. It just wasn't very interesting to us.
Oltre alla gloriosa carriera all'interno dei R.E.M, Michael Stipe ha coltivato durante gli anni una passione che aveva fin dai tempi dell'università e che è diventata oggi un'attività parallela a quella della band. Si tratta del cinema. Il cantante è infatti anche un produttore cinematografico.
In my 20s, I met a lot of people who worked in film, and I love film. I love the cinema. I love the great directors, and I love new film that's experimental. And I met a lot of people who worked in film who were very frustrated by the material that was available, by the process of making a film. It was very difficult to make great movies. So I very naively said, I'll start a company and we'll make great movies. End of story. So now I have three things that I do. One, most obviously, I do music with my band R.E.M. I do some side projects in music from time to time. Recently, I worked with Stéphane Pompignac from France on a record of his, which I'm very excited about. 2, I do film production, and I've worked on movies. I produced Being John Malkovich. I produced American Movie. I produced two films that are coming out in the next year that are right now in post-production. One is a teenage comedy set in a Christian high school. It's very controversial, and it will be very controversial in my country, and it's called Saved.
Oltre a produrre film di successo, il rapporto di Michael Stipe e dei R.E.M con il cinema vanta sicuramente altri momenti importanti. Dopo la pubblicità, Mono ripartirà proprio da uno di questi momenti, The Great Beyond, una delle canzoni contenute nella colonna sonora di The Man of the Moon. I'm pushing an elephant up the stairs.
The thing that Out of Time had, that none of the records before that had, was an international hit single called Losing My Religion. And that was a big surprise to all of us. We had worked very long and very hard, but it was not our goal to be a radio band, and it was not our goal to have international hit singles. It was really great that it happened, and I was very happy about it. But I think that's the record that a lot of people know because everyone went out and bought it, and they played it a lot. The next record, Automatic for the People, I think might be, if you took a poll, that might be people's favorite album. I would say I was raised a Christian. My grandfather was a Methodist preacher. My father was the son of a Methodist preacher. So I was raised in a very religious background. My particular faith, I could not attach to Christianity, to Judaism, to Islam, to Buddhism. There's not a faith that I feel speaks for everything that I am and everything, all that I am as a person. So I have a lot of the ideas from these faiths, but to ask me who I pray to or if I pray, I think is a very personal question. I'm fine to answer it. It's just not an easy answer because I'm not Catholic, I'm not Protestant, I'm not Jewish, I'm not Islamic, I'm not Buddhist. I'm none of these. I've read and I've understood beautiful passages from each of them, and they all, for me, help create an ethical and moral ground through which every decision that I make in my life is based on. Is that a good answer? Okay. Well, I was very disappointed in Bill when he decided to leave the band. I thought it was a stupid thing to do. I now realize, you know, as his friend, that it was for him a very difficult decision, but a decision that he had to make. He loves making music. He despises traveling, and he had 17 years of traveling the world with a band, and he didn't want to do it anymore. So he decided to become a farmer, and he is a great farmer. I saw him the day before we left to come on this tour. He had us out to his house for food and drinks, and we spent the afternoon together, and it was great. It was a great time, a great send-off to our tour. There's a new record that we're working on, which is all new songs, but we wanted to release the best of, which are our greatest hits. We wanted to release that first and to close that chapter, to say, this is what we have been for 15 years. This is how you know us. That comes out in October. Then we come back, we do some promotion for the best of. Then we go in the studio and we start working on our next studio album. And I think that will involve also coming back on tour sometime next year. But I don't want people to be confused. First is the best of in October. Then we go back in the studio after we do promotion for that, just to work on the next new studio album.